Hi, here with Gerard at 3T. Hi Gerard, how are you?
Good to meet you.
You have been breaking, new molds with these bikes. Maybe you start from how you came to be with 3T and how this bike evolved.
Yeah, so we built Cervelo, Phil and I, in about 15 years from nothing to quite a good size. I think bigger than we ever expected ourselves. And then we sold the company to the Pawn Group. And after that, I was just doing some fun stuff. And a couple of years ago, Rene Wiertz was the CEO of 3T, and he'd sort of rebuilt the brand. Came to me and said, I have some ideas on what we want to do in the future, and it involves complete bikes. And so we said, let's work together on that. Of course, I have the background in the frames, and 3T already was the maker of the best components in the world. So, if you have the best components and then you design a frame with that, then you have the best complete bike, I guess, is the easy theory.
And so then this came out really quite quickly from that process. So was it something you had in your mind beforehand in terms of the one by drive chain and the aero road positioning for this bike?
I've been thinking about one by since we had 8-speed cassettes, and then I had a spreadsheet that clearly showed it wasn't possible. And then I always thought once there's 1x11, then it starts to make sense. And of course there's a guy with the same spreadsheet somewhere at SRAM, and they decided when there was 11 speed they could do one by. And I recently found out actually there is an actual guy with an actual spreadsheet that looks remarkably similar to mine. So that was pretty funny. So the thing with 3T is, unlike, of course, it's a very traditional brand. It's almost 60 years in the bike industry, one of the true originals and the real innovators. And the nice thing is that it's such an innovative brand that you can do anything within that brand, right? If you had a brand that was known for lugged steel frames, then you're kind of stuck trying to move into the future. But I mean, the thing about 3T is it's done everything in its life over time. It had a good idea to make saddles, it made the world's lightest saddle, and then they stopped having good ideas about saddles, they stopped making them, right? So it's kind of nice. So it gives us a lot of opportunity. And then the first bike was the Exploro, so it's an aero gravel all-road bike. And that was quite successful and well received. And then for the road bike, everybody focuses on the one bike, but for us the main thing here was that why does an aero bike have to be uncomfortable, right? Like the aero bikes are all designed to be they're fast in the wind tunnel with a 21 millimeter tire, but then the customer puts a 25 millimeter tire on anyway, so then it's not so fast anymore. Or they want to put a 28 millimeter tire on, doesn't even fit. So what do we say? We start with the tire we want, 28, 30 millimeters, design all the aerodynamics around the fact that we start with that wider tire. And then when you want to save those last 8 watts, well, you remove the front derailleur and the inner ring, and you, first of all, you save 300 grams and you save 8 watts in drag. So for the ultimate aero road bike, that makes a lot of sense. So that was first the frame set, then we brought it out as a complete bike. So despite that it's top of the line model, with Force 1 drivetrain for $4,999, so that's quite a competitive price for such a high-end bike. So that's been going really well. We just introduced that sort of a month ago, so we're very happy with that. But of course the reality is, as you see it here, it's beautiful with the SRAM 1x drivetrain. But if you love Campagnolo or you love Shimano, you don't really have a ready-to-go option for 1x. Yeah. And so for those people who are not early adopters and still want to stick with 2x, or people who really love their Campagnolo or their Shimano, we came out with the Strada Due. So it's the same concept, and so it's not about, just like that, it's not really about the 1x, this is not really about the Due, it's about the fact that you have your bigger tire, your comfort, everything like that. And once you have all your comfort built into your tires, it just means that that frame you can make as stiff and as efficient as you want, because the overall bike is still comfortable. And so aerodynamically, it's all the same, except of course you got those 8 extra watts from having your front derailleur and your ring sticking out. But if that's what you want, then we have that option. And it was always the plan to have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of this Strada project. And so when we made the molds for the original Strada, we already had the pins in there so that we could eventually make a front derailleur version of it. But we're a small company, so we can't do everything at the same time. Plus, of course, when you introduce with just the 1x, the world explodes and everybody has an opinion, and so the free advertising was a big part of that.
Do you feel this is just a stopgap? Do you feel that the consumer will go to 1x, that will be the preferred mode, or
100%? I mean, when we launched it, we said this is what we think a bike will look like in 5 years from now. Right now, it was 1 year ago, so we're not there yet. But 4 years from now, this model will not exist anymore. That's for sure. It will all be 1x. I think you see that already. I mean, it's a combination, right? For the road world to go 1x, you need the product, and you need the riders to be ready,
Yeah.
right? And so with 1x11 it's possible, with 1x12 it's great, with 1x13 it's awesome, right? And you already see people now coming out with 12 speed and with 13 speed drivetrain. So the technology is getting ready, not just for the early adopters, but also for the the fast and the slow followers now in the overall curve. And so now the people's minds have to get ready. And you saw the same with one by in mountain bike. It goes very slow and slow, and everybody thinks it's silly and it will never work. It will never work. And then all of a sudden, there's these brands who are wondering like, hey, I have a warehouse full of 2x mountain bikes. How on earth do I get rid of them, right? And so it goes slow, and then it goes quickly. And so I mean, we're not at that flip the switch point yet, but we're certainly going to get there. I mean, once you have a 13-speed cassette, nobody says, oh, I need 2x13, so it's just a matter of time. And I always ask people, it's like, hey, if we had 1x14, would you ride that, or do you need 2x? So no, then I would ride 1x40. So, okay, so you've already made the decision. We're only discussing when you're going to make the switch. With 11, with 12, with 13, or are you waiting for 14, which somebody will figure out as well.
But it's coming.
It's only going to go one way, right?
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.